you wanted to. We're ready when you are, Mayor.
We're back in open session. Public Works, Rhonda,
There's nothing this evening.
reports.
No reports this evening either.
Tonight, we're going to have a presentation by the KMS Farmstead. We have Leslie Workman, president of Farmstead, with us to introduce a video.
Correct.
Thank you, Leslie.
Mayor Fields, can I take this down while I talk? Or
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Pat, do you want to?
Mayor Fields,
That has to be, sir, that has to remain open. That has to stay open. I understand. Maybe we can ask the vacuuming to stop.
Okay, yeah, Emily's going to
is
go.
the microphone working?
You have to get closer to it.
You have to get very close to the microphone.
Okay, okay.
We'll get them to stop vacuuming.
Okay, I'll scream. Mayor Fields and committee people and residents here and also watching us and staff. I'm Leslie Workman. I'm the new Farmstead president. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees, we are very happy. Actually, we're very excited to make this the first public viewing of this video. It was produced by funds provided by the Somerset County Cultural and Heritage Commission. It tells our story. It tells who we are, how we came to be, and what we would like to do. So with no further ado, if you would start.
A little over 300 years ago, in the heart of what is now central New Jersey, John Harrison, an agent of King James III of England, bought over 3,000 acres from Nowenowick, a Lenape Indian chief, for 50 British pounds. The original land, then known as Harrison's Neck, included a 300-acre parcel in what is now the southeast corner of Bernard's Township. While several families owned the property, one thing stayed the same. The land was farmed for more than 250 years. The rich land, with the Passaic River running through it, was a perfect place for apple orchards, farming wheat and corn, and for horses, sheep, and dairy cows. What remains today of open fields, riverside meadow, hedgerows, and farmhouse barns and other buildings gives visitors a glimpse into what a colonial farm was like. Why the name Kennedy Martin Stell Farmstead? Who are these people? They are three of the farmstead's most famous owners, and each made a difference in local, state, and American history. The Reverend Dr. Samuel Kennedy established the area's first classical school designed to prepare young men for college. Many of his pupils attended the College of New Jersey, which became Princeton University. Kennedy's school was later moved to the Brick Academy in Basking Ridge. He was also a medical doctor and the fourth minister of the Basking Ridge Presbyterian Church. Colonel Ephraim Martin was a Revolutionary War hero. In a letter about the Battle of Long Island, it is believed that Colonel Martin would die from a musket ball wound. There has been a little skirmishing and irregular firing kept up between their and our advanced guards, in which Colonel Martin of the Jersey levies has received a wound in his breast, which it is apprehended will prove mortal. Miraculously, he did not die. He was wounded again in the Battle of Brandywine while leading the 4th New Jersey Battalion in Maxwell's Brigade under Lord Sterling. He went on to serve with George Washington at Valley Forge in the winter of 1778. He was later a state legislator and played a major role in making New Jersey the first state to sign the Bill of Rights. 5 generations of the Stell family owned the farmstead for more than 150 years. They were farmers and state and local legislators. They gave some land in 1851 to help found the Millington Baptist Society Meeting House, which later became the Millington Baptist Church. Other farmstead owners included a Bell Labs scientist and a businessman who grew Christmas trees on the land. How did the Kennedy Martin Stell farmstead become the home of Farmstead Arts Center? In 1999, the Geyer family sold the entire 45-acre property to a development group. 9 acres of the property became home to Sunrise Senior Living of Basking Ridge. To save the rest of the property from being developed, Burnett Township used funds from the municipal open space tax to acquire the remaining 36 acres of the Geyer farm. A decision then had to be made. Should the buildings be torn down and the property turned into a park? Could the historic buildings be preserved? If so, what could they be used for? A house museum, a private home, or something else for the community to use and enjoy? A group of history-loving citizens stepped forward and petitioned the town to save the farmstead. A task force was formed and sent out a community survey to find out what the people wanted. The residents voted, and Burnett Township supported the community's decision to use the farmstead for an arts center. Listed on both the national and state registers of historic places, the farmstead you see today is one of a few surviving collections of colonial farm buildings in America, with a rare example of an English barn. The township leased the farmstead buildings to an all-volunteer group of local stewards who started the Friends of the Kennedy Martin Stell Farmstead, a nonprofit organization. Together, with the support of the town and community, the Friends began the step-by-step task of restoring the buildings with the goal of opening an arts center. Farmstead Arts Center is now a community resource where people of all ages come to enjoy theater, music, art, and history programs. The result of the work of the Friends is an excellent example of how buildings from colonial times can be saved, keep their historic features, and become home to a vibrant arts center. The English barn, which was built by hand, was used to store grain and to keep livestock. The construction was simple, but very strong and durable. The original support and roof beams, called wind braces that you see today, held up the barn and the roof for more than 200 years. The drop stalls are typical of English barns. The barn has been carefully restored and is now used for theater, barn dances, concerts, comedy shows, and other events. When the sliding door is open, look out over the meadow and imagine what the farm was like so many years ago. When you peek into the cow barn, notice how wooden pegs and slots called mortise and tenons were used to construct the walls. It is a good example of a small building used by farmers for cows, bulls, or storage. Work continues in the cow barn to turn it into a welcome and history center for the farmstead. The farmhouse was a home for over 250 years. When you step into the house to visit, see an art show, take a class, listen to a history lecture, or hear music, look closely. You are surrounded by history. In the timbers across the ceiling that were cut from trees in the 1700s, the fireplaces that warmed the house and where meals were prepared, a brick oven in a wall where bread was baked, the Dutch door with a separate top and bottom half to let the cool air in and keep animals out, and the walls filled with mud noggin, which kept wind from blowing through the walls in the winter. All things you would find in a house built in the 1700s and 1800s. The house is also full of secrets. In the kitchen, a hidden staircase was found by volunteers when the house was being restored and repairs were being made. Have you ever thought about how people lived without electricity, heat, or running water 300 years ago? In the 1700s and 1800s, people living at the farmstead took baths in the Passaic River. Water, drawn from the river or a well, was heated over the fireplace for bathing and washing clothes. We can only imagine what it must have been like. The fields were plowed by hand, and the children, when they weren't working in the fields or at school, played with corn cobs to make dolls, and learned to curtsy and bow, playing the game of graces with hoops and sticks. The transformation from an old farm property to a center for fine performing and practical arts was realized. The Farmstead Arts officially opened in 2010 during Somerset County's weekend journey through the past. The opening celebrated 11 years of renovation efforts, which were made possible through grant funding and through hundreds of citizen volunteers, support from local, county, and state government, and guidance from some of New Jersey's top preservation professionals and the Friends of the Farmstead Board of Trustees. Somerset County, through their Historic Preservation Grant Program and the New Jersey Historic Trust, have provided encouragement and generous funding to the farmstead since the beginning of restoration. The Friends of the Kennedy Martin Stell Farmstead have received many honors and awards, including New Jersey's highest honor for creative use of an historic site. This award recognized the teamwork between the Friends, civic leaders, and restoration professionals. Look at what has been accomplished. See a labor of love which preserves our colonial past so it can be enjoyed by generations to come. With continued help from residents, volunteers, local businesses, the Township, County, and New Jersey's preservation professionals, grassroots efforts have spanned nearly 2 decades and show no signs of stopping. Today, the farmstead is a destination for professional and amateur artists who showcase their talents for audiences from local and surrounding communities. People of all ages, from all over New Jersey and beyond, enjoy a variety of programs including art exhibits, concerts, historical lectures, community theater and events, workshops, art classes, and more. The farmstead has come a long way since opening in 2010, but there is much more to come. Restoration and preservation work will continue. The Dairy Barn Foundation will become a terrace for outdoor events. A welcome center is planned for the cow barn. With the goal of linking the past to today, the Friends have the vision, pending approval by the State Historic Preservation Office, of preserving the foundation and historic elements of the Wagon House and using the space for a solar energy exhibit as a tribute to farmstead owner and solar energy pioneer, Dr. Gerald Pearson. Quality, accessible arts programming will also continue and be expanded to reach new audiences, so they too can take a glimpse into the past and share in the joy of fine and performing arts. The Friends welcome everyone to enjoy and be a part of the Farmstead Arts Center. Take a step into the past. Look for unique features in the buildings. Stroll the grounds. Marvel how much our world has developed from the 1700s and 1800s. Enjoy the art gallery. Attend a concert. Listen to a lecture. Watch a theater performance. Try an art class. Volunteer. Become a member. Help us preserve our past and shape the future of the farmstead.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your attention. This was totally produced by the Somerset County Cultural and Heritage Commission by their funds, and we intend to use it for marketing, for fundraising, for promotion of the farmstead, for many different reasons. But we're very excited about our history and where we want to go next. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it never amazes me how much I don't know. That was great. Thank you. I know.
Yeah, thank you for showing that. Congratulations, Leslie. And the farmstead's in good hands.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you to everyone who volunteers and participates at the farmstead. And I'm the liaison and happy to say that I am. And it's a great partnership we have with you and rich history. It was unbelievable. Thank you. Next, we're going to go on to correspondence. Rhonda?
Okay, we have a letter dated February 1st, 2021 from the Farmstead, requesting permission to permit serving alcohol at KMS fundraising, Farmstead fundraising events. Would you
Could you
want me to
Could you
read
read
the letter?
Thank you.
So it said, the letter goes as follows. The Friends of the Kennedy Martin Steller Farmstead, DBA Farmstead Arts, 450 King George Road, Basking Ridge, the Friends, are asking for permission to serve alcohol at fundraising events. The pandemic has hurt individual businesses and nonprofits alike, and we are no exception. In March of 2020, we closed down in response to the governor's directive and pivoted to offer our patrons online art classes and services, as our typical patron is older and hesitant to return to in-person venues. We are planning to reopen this fall with a gala event to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the opening of the Farmstead Arts. Specifically, our current plan is to hold a historically accurate colonial farm-to-table fundraiser on the grounds of the Farmstead Art Center on October 2nd, 2021. We are trying to make it as historically accurate as possible, serving period food and drink, which leads us to this request to serve alcohol. Fundraisers typically serve some type of alcohol to increase the attractiveness of the event and to command higher ticket prices. This is currently the only fundraiser being planned to include the serving of alcohol this year. If COVID-19 or another strain remains in effect, this event would comply with all applicable requirements then in effect. We anticipate having around 100 people attend the event, which would be by reservation only, utilizing our newly constructed patio for a portion of the seating. We fully understand that this will require permits and insurance coverage that will be needed to serve alcohol. We will ensure that all state requirements for securing of catering or social affairs permits are obtained and will be maintain insurance as required by the lease in a manner consistent with the recommendations from the Township Risk Manager to serve alcohol. It is our desire to be a good neighbor, and we are engaged in an ongoing open dialogue with our neighbors. We invited Tom Whitehouse to serve as an advisory trustee on the board, and he has accepted. In our discussions with the Whitehouses, it was agreed that since many of our patrons are older, we would limit fundraiser attendees to those over 21, and this substantially mitigated their concerns. Another immediate neighbor, John Catapano, had voiced his support for soft alcohol to be served only at fundraisers. Soft meaning beer, wine, and/or a signature drink. The Friends seek permission to serve alcohol only at fundraisers that benefit the farmstead, and we will do everything under our control to be good neighbors. It is relevant that the lease with the township requires the Friends to raise or provide all funds necessary for preservation, restoration, development, operation, and maintenance of the leased properties. To do this, we need to increase our ability to raise funds to build reserves for big maintenance items like painting and windows, as well as to continue operations. This has been a significant challenge, even with all the art studio in the farmhouse fully rented, and with most of our events, including classes, concerts, theater, and other events in the barn and house, sold out to capacity before COVID. We are very fortunate to have added a professional fundraiser to our board this past year and have exciting plans for fundraising going forward. But in order to entice adults to purchase $100 plus tickets to a gala, we have to offer an exceptional experience, including wine, beer, and/or a signature cocktail for those who so choose. This is not an unprecedented request for nonprofits in the Somerset Hills area. Some examples include the Friends of the Ross Estate, located in Bernards Township and owned by the county, obtained a special permit from Somerset County to be able to serve alcohol at their fundraising events. The Center for Contemporary Art, which is owned by the Township of Bedminster and run by a nonprofit, offers many events at their facility that include alcohol, such as their major fall fundraiser, Spirits in the Night. Then the letter goes on to say, happy to discuss and come to a township committee meeting, which brings us to where we are now. So we appreciate your support and consideration of our proposal.
Do you have any questions?
I'm all in.
Okay,
No, I think you have a consensus, so,
right,
I mean, even aside from here, but with the neighbors, and I think,
right.
Yeah.
I think you've been doing a really good job, so, good luck.
I'll look forward to seeing you at the
And I'll
fundraiser.
be there.
Yeah, right.
If you want to
So-
hear more, we have.
No, we're good, we're good.
But we,
So wonderful, that's great.
So what
So
we're
we
gonna
do-
do is Rhonda's gonna, we're gonna pass it on to our risk manager.
we would need to go to the risk manager. We do have a ordinance that says that, you know, we prohibit, so we would have to do a resolution that would allow the serving of alcohol.
Okay.
So we can draft up, if the committee so chooses, I can draft
Okay.
up a
Yes.
resolution.
We're all in agreement on that, okay.
Kate?
I'm all in. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful addition to our community.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do.
Excellent,
Okay.
so
All right,
just
thank you.
very, very much.
Thank you, guys. Great job.
So save the date, October 2nd.
Okay.
Thank you, Leslie and Richard, thank you very much, everyone, all of you volunteers. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for everything that you do, for bringing it back. It's been 10 years. It's a wonderful venue, and I'm really looking forward to going back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Okay, now we're gonna go into public comment. Comments are welcome during the public comment period during this meeting on any agenda item or other matters over which the Township Committee has jurisdiction. However, if an ordinance is listed for its own public comment on the agenda, please hold your comments for that particular public hearing. To address this body, the speaker must come forward to the microphone and state his or her name and address for the record. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. The clerk will keep the time. Please promptly yield the floor when time is called and return to your seat. Your cooperation and adherence to these rules of order will ensure an orderly and respectful meeting. Okay, open for public comment?
Take this one. Gail Jacoby, 6 Meadowview Road, Basking Ridge, New Jersey. New Jersey, of course. I'm also a volunteer at the Farmstead. I've been a volunteer for a few years, and I'm just thrilled that we have it in our township. I've taken people, I've invited many people, family members and friends. It's the most wonderful, I think, one of the most wonderful things that we have, and I'm just thrilled and so happy to see it continue. And I'm very, very proud and privileged to be a help there whenever I can go. So I wanted to say that. I also just want to publicly thank, I think it's the Public Works, the ones that come and they clean our streets.
Yes.
They are absolutely fantastic. I mean, I live on a small street with a cul-de-sac. I've been living here for over 40 years. This is starting my 42nd year. Even from all the way back, they are just terrific. So I want to thank them publicly for what they do to get our streets safe for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm going to come back up here because I wish a couple other people would come up here, but I'm just so excited. I just want to thank you. We're very excited.
Leslie, could you just give your name and
Oh, I'm
address
sorry.
and address?
Leslie Workman, 27 Wellington Drive. I just am very excited. I'm very happy about the support. You know, we're very excited. We have a lot of new people on our board. We have a professional fundraiser. We're just so excited to be doing this, and it's frustrating now to be under COVID. That's hurting all of us, hurts the business plan, but, you know, we're excited for when we open up. So thank you very, very much. Does anyone else want to come up and say nice things?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Serena Bocchino at 82 Haas Road, and I'm a professional artist and educator. I also run a 501(c) in the arts, and I just want to thank you so much for allowing the Farmstead to go forward with this, because as you all know probably too, that you do need something like, you know, wine and beer to fundraise or something to have more people come. And just that the Farmstead is a wonderful place, and like you had said previously, that it really is terrific to have something like this here in the town, and it brings the community together. And I've certainly been at the other art institutions around, like that were mentioned, the Center for Contemporary Arts, of course, and its Summit Visual Arts Center of New Jersey. And to have the Farmstead grow and become more viable is just essential, I think. And I know a lot of moms who have children that want to have arts education. It's terrific that they don't have to drive as far, and they could have it right here. And we have so many resources of other creative people in the community that could take part in terms of music, theater, and the visual arts. So thank you so much for approving that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Huckins, 67 Woodstone Road, in Basking Ridge, of course. So I've been a resident in the town for 21 years, I guess, and been involved in some different things over the years, but this is kind of a new thing for me, being you know, a trustee at the Farmstead Arts Center. But the fact that every one of you, are wholeheartedly supporting us is a wonderful thing, and I just want to thank the Township Committee for that and for your support and backing. And we've got other fundraising activities that are planned. They're not going to include alcohol, but because we are in a tight spot financially because of we haven't had a play in all last year basically, and a lot of the other functions have all been shut down too. So, and I am also responsible for the maintenance of the buildings and the grounds, and we really need the funding in order to be able to just take care of it and put windows in. We've got some windows that are falling apart, and all of those kinds of things. So being able to enhance our fundraising is going to be a big benefit towards that as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Cody Smith, 36 Royal Oak Drive. I didn't come here for what the discussion just was on the resolution, but I think it's great that they got that through. Paying $100 and not having a glass of wine isn't a very good deal, so I'm glad that you're doing that. So I'm going to change topics for a minute. I came to talk about the resolution for the January 6th event in Washington, D.C. I've been following that and looking at it. Before I read the article in the Burnersville News last week, I wasn't aware that that had been tabled. I prepared a list of 15 questions that I would like for you to address if you kept going with that resolution. As you know, President Biden has passed 52 executive orders or actions, and it provides a host of things that you could comment on. So I think the first thing probably is that I'm glad that you stopped doing that, and I hope that in the future, before you take on national issues, you'll think about the fact that that's probably not why you're sitting up there, that that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for township issues. As somebody so nicely put it at the last meeting, and unfortunately, it didn't appear that she was aware that you had already tabled that when she got up and gave her speech. So the lack of transparency, I think, as to what exactly is going on isn't a good thing. The second thing I was surprised when I read the article in the Burnersville News was that 4 of the 5 people that came up and commented were part of the Democrat Party here in town. So it appeared it was a coordinated attack on basically members of our township committee, and apparently Ms. Harris had a resolution ready to go. If something like that happens, that ought to be on the agenda so that we have a chance to get up and comment on it, rather than make a subtle attack like that where you line up 5 people to come in and then you have a resolution ready to go. And Mr. Baldessari, with all due respect, you're too nice. I don't know if you knew who these people were and what was going on. By your prepared remarks, it seemed like you might have had a heads up. But why do we keep going with that? We should have just shut it down, right? And to you, Ms. Harris, this is the 3rd time we had the diversity committee, then we had the little incident over who would be the deputy mayor, and now you bring this up. I mean, I looked earlier today, when you won, you basically won by 29 votes, if the website is right. So it wasn't much. And people like me actually voted for you, if you can believe it, because we thought that the Republicans were a little bit too chummy and they needed to be broken up and the old school guard needed to be taken down. And now, except for Mr. Bellardo, who's not here tonight, that has happened. But when you speak of throwing Molotov cocktails, I would say what you did at that meeting was a Molotov cocktail at basically the community and the township committee. And I don't think that that should happen any longer. So that's all I have to say about it. But I think it's really a sad that the way that this thing unfolded and the way that that happened and the people that were lined up on the editorial page of the Burnersville News, it's not good for the town. So thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I want to clarify is there wasn't a resolution prepared at all at that meeting.
That's correct. There
So
was
I just
not.
want to make sure you know that. So just so you know, Ms. Harris brought it up. She brought up doing it. So it wasn't prepared and it wasn't done, just so you know.
I read in the paper and I went back and I listened again today to exactly what was said at that meeting. And her words were that she had a resolution prepared that she would be happy to circulate. Those were her words. I don't know if that's true.
Well, if that-
Okay, I wasn't commenting on that. I was
If that-
commenting that we didn't have
If that
one.
is in fact the case, then Ms. Harris, that was her, correct me if I'm wrong, but if she was going to share that, then that was when she was telling us she was going to share that with us. In Ms. Harris's defense, I don't think there's any transparency issue with regard to that. I think she brought it up in the proper venue, if that's what, she wanted to bring up. She brought it up in front of all of us, and we responded, accordingly.
If I could make one comment. 5 people knew that that was going on that night. 5 people, 4 on the Democrat Party and one of their surrogates. They knew. They came here to comment. She had the resolution prepared, right? That wasn't on the agenda. That wasn't something that was going to be discussed that night. But people knew, and they came here and they were ready to go.
Yeah, Mr. Smith,
So people like me who
I
read the
understand.
agenda,
I understand, but with all due respect, we don't control that. We don't control who comes in and does any of that stuff. This is.
you may not control it. I'm just saying it's not good practice that stuff like that goes on.
Thank you.
I hear you. Just wanted to clarify that we didn't have it prepared at the meeting. That was the important part.
Right, and just since everyone is responding, what I said was I had a resolution, or actually it was a proclamation, so I think I misspoke, that someone from another town had given to me. The only coordinated attack was the one in DC. So I think that we had different views from different people. I received phone calls from residents who asked me, is the township committee going to make some kind of statement? And this is how I look at it. Any resident, including yourself, can come in and share their view. Because that's what the United States is about. We can share our views. Do we always like to hear someone else's view? No. Do we always take the time to listen to someone else's view? No. And that, in my opinion, is the rabbit hole that this country is going down. So, no coordinated attack. There were residents who felt differently than you did, Mr. Smith, and came and shared their opinion, and they have just as much right to share their opinion as you do tonight, as I do sitting here.
Okay, does anybody else have
Can I,
oh, I'm sorry.
can I just comment on that, Joan? Because in the interest of transparency, you did not attend the Sewerage Authority meeting that night without any excuse. You did not show up for executive session of this body that night. You arrived with those 5 residents, and thank you for seeing what was attempted to be obscured, but for the transparency of that night, which was a concerted attack on this body and the Republican Party. So thank you.
Mr. Esposito, I did not arrive with any other person. You do not know what you're speaking about. And I will say this, I had a work obligation that went over time. So, you know, it's
Okay,
good to
we're just
imagine what
stating-
you think happened, but if you don't know the facts, you shouldn't be speaking about them right
Okay,
now.
he stated his opinion. He
Let's
stated his opinion.
let's stick to public
Yeah,
comment,
Yeah,
please.
he stated his
Mayor.
opinion. We're on next. Okay, next.
Titlestein Riverside Drive. I have no hand grenades to throw, so. Just wanted to talk about a couple things quickly. In the Burnsville News, I saw maybe 2 weeks ago that Long Hill Township was talking about expedited inspections that the state wants to propose, that where somebody could pay extra money to have their inspections done quicker and have a priority. And I would hope the township would write a letter to Senator Keene or Assembly Bromnick or somebody and say we're against this, because I don't believe anybody has the right, just because they have deep pockets, to pay to get their stuff inspected before anybody else. And apparently, from what I read in the article, there's a lot of provisions there that if you're incapable of inspecting these places within 2 days, they could bring in their own inspection. And if things aren't done correctly or they don't get the inspections, they actually could get all their money back from the town for the inspections. So I think it's in the paper. I don't remember what date, I think it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago in the Burnsville News. Or you could contact Long Hill Township, because they were very much against it. The other thing I want to speak about is fire hydrants. When it snows out, when there's snow on the ground, people drive around, people love to listen to their music or, you know, talk to their friends or on their cell phone. When I drive around, I see with snow on the ground, I'm looking at fire hydrants. And I'm looking and I don't see fire hydrants because they're usually covered. And if you live on Haas Road, or Valley Road between Stonehouse and Liberty Corner Road, or Lyons Road, or South Finley, or South Maple, because I drove down those roads and very few fire hydrants were dug out, and they were pretty much covered except for the maybe little antenna. I live on Riverside Drive, and I'm going to tell you, all those fire hydrants are maintained and they're dug out because the people care about their neighbors, or they care about their own houses if a fire does happen. Some people think maybe their house isn't going to catch on fire and they don't have to worry about it. That's kind of a gamble. I grew up in West Orange and we had a fire hydrant on our property and we always dug it out. I always felt it was, besides a responsibility, but I thought it was a source of pride to have it dug out so somebody could actually get to it in an emergency. If there's people who are incapable of doing it, who are disabled or just incapable of doing, maybe the neighbors should do it for them. Because when your house is on fire and you live, next door, you want that fire hydrant dug out. And I know insurance companies actually, property insurance or house insurance, give you a discount because of having a fire hydrant within so many feet from the house. But I know I have New Jersey manufacturers, and that's a question they ask: how far you live from a firehouse or a fire hydrant. So I think it's something that you should take care of if you have one, if you care about your house. And I don't mean just drag a little snow around just to get to it. I mean, these guys are wearing bunker pants and turnout coats and stuff, and they're trying to put a fire hydrant in an emergency, and they're rushing. Take the time to do it if you care. If you don't care, it's fine with me. I know when my house catches on fire, if not, the fire hydrant will be accessible. The third thing I want to speak about is on Sunday about 5 o'clock at night or late afternoon. I was talking to my neighbor, and Jorge was driving down, the director of Public Works, and actually stopped by and we spoke for about 5 and 10 minutes. So I was kind of impressed that this guy, Jorge, would be on the road at 5 o'clock on a Sunday night after a big snow. And he says he goes out and he inspects and he makes sure things are done. And we spoke for a while, and we spoke, some of my concerns. And I'll tell you, the next morning, they was either done that Sunday or first thing in the morning, the things were taken care of. And I think he did a very nice job. And people pay good money, and I think we pay very well. I mean, I think the money's well deserved there. I think he's done a very good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Anybody else?
Good evening, Township.
evening.
John Coelho, 22 Benedict Crescent. So,
I'm sorry, it was 22?
Benedict Crescent. Thank you. So, just in full disclosure, registered Republican, and I want to just acknowledge that. But to comments made earlier, in the public session, I think we have to find what has made this town really great is we have to find a way to have a civil discourse and discussion. And that, to me, is the most important thing we do, whether it's members of the public coming in and addressing you or you addressing each other. There has to be a way for civil discourse. That is the only way we become stronger and better. So my appeal to all of you, including my friends here on all sides, is think carefully about your intent and try to reach across and discuss and dialogue, because if we accuse each other all the time of different things, we're not going to get beyond and make this a greater place. I'm an immigrant to this country. I love this country, and I think it's the greatest place in the world. And I just want to tell you, you've done a great job at making this town. Let's make it even greater. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sumit Singh, 14 Sentinel Drive.
14 Sentinel?
Sentinel Drive.
Sentinel.
So we had, in our Patriot-rich community, we have been suffering with the optimum service. I think we copied the mayor office as well. Were you going to talk about it, address it?
I'm going to
tonight?
address it during
You
my
will address it.
comments.
So I'll hold my comment.
No,
You want me-
you could comment anyway.
Okay,
It's
so since last March, and I know we did a one-day signature campaign, and there's like 80 people joined in, is that, hey, this is just gone way beyond what we would have anticipated. So we really have to do something. I don't know what the mayor office can do, so would love to hear your perspective.
Did you send me a letter?
No, Gopal did. He copied the CEO
Oh,
of.
Gopal? Oh,
yes.
Gopal, yes, I did speak with him, I did call him, and I did address his letter.
Okay. So are you gonna, what are our course of action? Would you be able to clarify for us?
Well, I'm going to talk about it. We have a utilities task force who's dealing, a utilities task force that is dealing with the cable issues.
Okay, so would we get any clarification today, or it's still?
Yeah,
in the works?
I'll wait till, the utilities task force put out a public statement about that, and I was going to read it in the comments.
But do you have a comment, sir, that you would like in the record?
No, I mean,
Okay.
we are at the point where we're looking for some actions here.
Right.
You know, whether you take it, we take it, legal actions. I mean, we gotta do something about this. It's
Right.
gone way beyond, normal.
Okay. And like I said, we're addressing those issues. Scott Gibbard is here, maybe you can speak. He's the chair of the Utilities Task Force.
So why don't I wait?
They're
let him speak and
specifically
then-
dealing with the issues that you're talking about.
Okay,
We're hearing you and we're dealing with them, but we're also working with the task force, because that's what they're there for, to help with the utility issues.
okay. Can I come back after I've heard him, if there is further
Sure, and after I
clarification?
speak, yes, you can, because there'll be second public comment.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Township Committee Board Liaisons, Reports, and Staff Comments. Pat?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to welcome one of our newest members of the groundskeepers for our Grounds Division DPW, Derek Venner. To echo Todd's remarks, I want to thank DPW for their efforts in the last few storms, and I believe we have a very active week coming, and even next week, so ask for your patience. DPW is currently working with their large equipment to remove snow from certain areas where it's just piled up too high. Intersections, some sidewalks in the center of town, parking spaces, so, bear with us, that'll keep going. So thank you, George, and the guys at DPW. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom, Timko, or engineer? No, thank you. Melissa Riley, or attorney? Something?
Nothing from me here. Thank you, Mayor.
Rhonda?
I have a few things, I'm sorry.
Okay, sure.
In November, two representatives from the Tour of Somerville Bike Race made a presentation here to the Township Committee to hope to include Bernards Township in their event, which was originally to occur over Memorial Day weekend. But we've learned that their race has been pushed back to Labor Day weekend. And I'm sure this is because of the governor's restrictions on outdoor gatherings, which has not been raised yet. So I wanted to make you aware of that. And also, on a brighter note, yesterday the governor stated that he is optimistic that the primary election may return to normal, although a decision has not been made yet. But with the numbers continuing to go down, he is hopeful. So with that in mind, I encourage anyone who's willing, ready, willing, and able to consider becoming a poll worker. You can go to our website, bernards.org, and under the Residents tab, select voting information. There you'll find a Become a Poll Worker button, which links to the Somerset County Board of Elections website, where you would find an application, and I believe they're doing online training now. So I encourage everyone to check it out so that we can be fully staffed and ready when the governor allows it. So that's all for me.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Rhonda. Joan?
Yeah.
Ms. Harris?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Banyan.
That's okay. So I was a little taken aback by my colleague's statements, and I misspoke. So on the night in question, when residents of this town came and shared their view and asked us to speak to what happened in DC, I was at a municipal alliance meeting. And Mr. Baldessari can vouch for me because his wife attended that meeting as well. So I went from the Municipal Alliance meeting, which had to be scheduled on that evening because of the reorganization meeting that had taken its normal night. So I wish that if there had been questions that someone had, that they might have come to me and asked me a question, and I could have cleared that up. Mr. Craylow, I appreciate your comments, and I agree 100%. We don't always agree with each other. Sometimes it's really difficult to hear some things that you have strong opinions against, but we have to fight through those instincts and treat each other with the respect and dignity that each one of us, Republican, Democrat, Independent, deserves. I'm happy to say that we did, well, first, George Casacuberta and the DPW worked harder than anyone and did such a great job. And I don't know if you don't know George, make time to meet him. He just loves what he does, and that's evident in everything that he says and the way that he runs the DPW. So my hat's off to them as well. We had a municipal alliance meeting, and Karen Ford, who's the media outreach coordinator for the Somerset County Hope and Healing Program, came and spoke. That program is a free emotional support service program, and they have a helpline, and it's to provide families and individuals who may have been affected by the negative impacts of COVID-19 during this pandemic. And you can simply reach out to the helpline, which is 908-231-6414, or you can send them an email at hopeandhealing@county.somerset.newjersey.us. It's a free, confidential, and anonymous helpline, so they can offer emotional support, coping skills, and refer you to community resources that you might not know about. We did have our first diversity and inclusion meeting, committee meeting, and it went very well. There was a very nice, nuanced discussion, and I'm really looking forward to doing great things with that committee. One thing that was mentioned was that everyone there loves this town. I'm sure like every resident in this room loves this town. And one member mentioned that she was concerned that maybe from the out looking in, it doesn't appear that way. So I just want to share this story with you because this is the Bernards Township that I love. We received an email from someone at Memorial Sloan Kettering in town, and they were looking for referrals to have food delivered because incoming staff couldn't make it in because of the storm, and the staff that was there were going to stay overnight to take care of the patients. Immediately, Mayor Fields reached out, found someone to help them. I was doing the same thing at the same time, and I just put a blast on Facebook, and while we found someone to provide food, several members of our community offered to make donations to cover those meals. I collected $425 in donations in a very short period of time because that's who Bernard Township is. Republican, Democrat, Independent. So I just wanted to sincerely thank Candace Hull, Lori Waldron, Sandy Scott, Catherine Reed, Joan Risavi, Deborah Carroll, Cindy Classic, Beth Rosenvier, Etta Marshall, Danielle Cahin, Jen Persek, Robin Geringer, Kim Patchett, Mike Schwartz, Kelly Dash, and Victoria Caffey. The people at Memorial Sloan Kettering were overwhelmed and send their sincere thanks. That's all I have. Thank you.
Joe?
I just wanted to thank the Kennedy Farmstead. I think they were thanking us, but I want to thank them because they're not just preserving the building. I could see through the video and your words tonight that you're interested in preserving the history, and that's really important. And I applaud you for thinking outside the box in terms of fundraising and what you want to do with those buildings. I think that's really great. So thank you for everything you do. And just want to echo what everyone, some of our residents said and what others have said. What a great job we did through the storm. Unfortunately, as Pat, as you stated, we're going to get to practice again this week. So yeah, so thank you to make sure Jorge knows how much he's appreciated and how much we respect what
Will do.
Thank you.
Kate? Kate?
I have no comment. I agree with everything everybody said.
Thank you.
One other
Go
thing.
ahead, go ahead, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
Todd, I think you stole yourself a little bit short on snow removal, because I believe I passed you on the Hills Drive, also with a shovel, clearing some snow. So it's not just Riverside Drive that you take care of, so.
Right, when you stand on ice and stuff, it's uncomfortable.
Good.
You know, sometimes they can't get from the street to the sidewalk with the plowing, so
Yeah.
I like to clear it so they have a path to get to the.
I would have stopped and spoken to you, but I was on my way to the dentist, but.
The right one.
Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, thank you to our Department of Public Works. They always do an unbelievable job, and Jorge, as usual, above and beyond, you know, on the weekends, early in the morning, late at night, it just doesn't matter. We got some of the best working for us, and everybody, myself, probably, well, I won't say most of all, but I'm definitely up there. I can't appreciate them enough and thank them for everything that they do. Following up on what Rhonda said regarding the bike races, I spoke with Mike Molikoff for the Somerville bike races, and yes, we're looking at Labor Day weekend, given the you know, the restrictions that are still going to be probably put in place and then kept in place through May, and we're going to look to try and get that done during Labor Day. You know, later on in the year when hopefully things, you know, are much better than they are today and things have loosened up a little bit. I'm going to go down as quick as I can here from our Parks and Recreation Department. Speaking of machines, Jen Gander puts this stuff together, and her and Sean and their entire department, you know, they work tirelessly, especially during this crazy time with the pandemic. Parks and facilities, the status updates are emailed as conditions have changed due to snow. Our online paddle tennis court reservations are available. Online reservations will be available for all courts this spring. Tentatively, we are planning to accept picnic shelter reservations on or about March 1st. Indoor facilities remain closed for the foreseeable future. Recreation programs. Without access to indoor facilities to host our regularly scheduled winter session programs, we are holding what we can outdoors, including adult paddle tennis lessons and youth and adult tennis lessons. Early spring sessions of outdoor basketball clinics are planned for March, and tennis lessons will be planned as well. Spring session programs will be advertised shortly. Outdoor youth and adult tennis, basketball, yoga, men's softball. We're planning to hold a summer program, likely outdoors in the parks with limited participation. More information will be available next month. Special events. Annual Community Art Show and the Mayor's Art Awards presentation are postponed from March to sometime later this fall, pending availability at the Environmental Center. An official decision will be posted regarding Charter Day by the end of the month. It is highly unlikely an event of this size will be permitted to take place, but let's keep our fingers crossed. We are planning to host concerts, movies, and plays in the park this summer. If necessary, we will implement a reservation system and assign seating to manage capacity and comply with gathering limits. Recreation, Parks, and Pathways Advisory Committee. The committee is actively reviewing the Parks and Recreation element of the current master plan to provide comments back to our chairwoman, Kippy Pedici, and our planning board. We are planning to conduct a needs assessment survey this spring to identify new and changing interests of residents. Pool membership. Pleasant Valley pool memberships are on hold until we receive more information from the New Jersey Department of Health on operating guidelines for the summer of 2021. We anticipate accepting payments sometime in March. The early payment deadline will be in effect through April 30th. And the Coakley-Russo Memorial Golf Course and Golf Advisory Committee are now accepting new membership and renewal payment applications. Opening day is scheduled for April 1st, weather permitting. New for 2021, we will be offering online tee time reservations. We are actively working with the Veterans Administration, drafting a new space sharing agreement for the operation of both the golf course and the driving range facilities for the next 10 years. Due to a generous donation through our partnership with the NJ Golf Foundation, we have received a new starter building for member check-in, a new landscape patio entrance area, flagpole, and memorial monument. And I can't say enough about that Golf Advisory Committee and what they've done over the course of the last 2 years with a bunch of new members and a lower budget. So
and bad conditions.
Yeah,
really bad conditions.
Really bad conditions. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Try to do this without my glasses on, see if I can see. So first, I want to talk about the Utilities Task Force. We just started in January, had our first meeting, and it's been a month of just nonstop working on the issues, which the first one that we're tackling is the cable and internet. We've received a lot of emails, so we hear you. So the task force has been busy collecting and addressing all your concerns. I've been working directly with the task force chairman, Scott Gibbard, who's here tonight, along with Altice representative. On Friday, I had a conference call with Bedminster Township Committeeman Colin Hickey and the representative from Altice. We do have some crossover from Bedminster to Bernard's in the Hills, so we're working together on that. And also, it's power in numbers, so we're working with Bedminster so that Altice can really give us the service that we need. So it's important that we're doing that together. Altice has addressed some common issues and concern. Right now, they're in the process of splitting nodes in 5 hotspots, which will help with the internet speed. Today, Scott Gibbard put up a statement on the Utility Task Force to let everyone know what we've been up to. So I'm going to read the statement. The Bernards Township Utility Advisory Task Force has today been advised by Altice USA Optimum that the company is investing in the Hills and Society Hill to enhance its local network by adding capacity. It is the task force understanding that increased internet usage, particularly since COVID-19, has made it necessary to add capacity to the system in order to meet the growing data demands of customers and enable the company to deliver reliable, high-speed broadband service. This work is underway and expected to be completed within the next 3 weeks. Residents in these locations should note that they may experience brief service interruptions as the network enhancement is performed. Also, the task force is working on a survey to go out. So I just want everybody to know we're getting your emails. The task force is getting your emails. We're working on it. We're working with Altice to resolve it. So first we have to give them an opportunity to address our concerns and issues, and we know what they are. And then from there, if we're not getting what we need, we'll go back to the drawing board and just keep working. So I just want everybody to know we're really working hard on it. And I want to thank Scott, who's turned it into a full-time job with the Utility Task Force, so thank you. And I also want to thank and welcome Michael Estrin, who will be appointed tonight to the task board. Appreciate him wanting to serve. And I'm also the liaison to the Farmstead for a year now, so I continued on, and it's a great partnership. I really enjoy working with you, and you saw the video tonight. So proud of the presentation that you gave. And I just want to say, whenever the answer can be yes, it will be, but sometimes it does have to be no. So thank you. Appreciate that. Liberty Corner Fire and EMS.
That's what I tell my kids.
So true, right? So Liberty Corner EMS and Fire, most have received their second shot, so that's what they've been up to. And like my colleagues have said, the DPW has done a tremendous job clearing our roadways, but not only do they clear our rear roadways, they also clear our walkways. With 20-plus inches of snow, removal wasn't easy. They're always prepared, they're always on the job. They call me, whoever's mayor, they always call before, after, during, just to let us know what they're doing and what they're up to and what the plan is. So we really appreciate DPW, George, the director, and the whole department, because they put a lot of time in, and sometimes they stay overnight to get the job done. So just want to say thank you, really appreciate their hard work and dedication. And the good news with snow, it brought out the Bernards families to enjoy sledding at the Oak Street School. I'm sure many of you, like myself, have such wonderful memories with my boys sled riding. Some of you may have heard, but I just want to make sure that you know that the health department, the Bernards Township Health Department, has been working to become approved for this COVID-19 vaccine site. Last week, the Bernards Township Health Department was approved, but is currently not scheduling appointments at this time as there is no vaccine to administer. Once the health department is able to order vaccines and schedule appointments, residents will be able to sign up. The information will be posted at the bernardshealth.org site, and a rave alert will go out. Another important topic is our schools. So I want to let you know, we've been inundated with emails and phone calls with parents concerned about the schools and wanting the schools to open. And we hear you. Unfortunately, we don't have jurisdiction over the schools, but what we have done and we will continue to do is advocate for you. So I personally spoke with Karen Gray, the Board of Education president, and I let her know that we've received many emails and phone calls about your concerns about the school, and that I was calling to advocate for our residents and let her know that we had been receiving your calls and emails. And so just want to let you know, we really can't do anything, but we're advocating for you. We are working with them and letting them know what your concerns are. Tonight, the Sewage Authority, our first meeting, we had John Crane join us, so I'd like to say welcome to John. And Kevin Orr will be our chair again for another year. Like Pat had mentioned, Derek Venner joined our DPW department for the grounds crew. Also, I'd like to say, so if you email us or call us or any concerns that you have, it does really make change. So one of the interesting things that happened was somebody had emailed us and said that they didn't know the schedule for recycling and that it changed and it was supposed to be picked up and there was a snowstorm. So we took that information and we said that, well, you have to go to the county website because we don't have that information. It's all through the county recycling. But the great employees that we have here, we talked it out and we put a link on our webpage. So if you go to our webpage, you can click on Somerset County Recycling, and if it happens again with the snowstorm, you will be able to see the schedule. So just want to thank our Berners employees, Pat especially, and just to say to you, when you email us, change does happen and we do listen, and that's how we can all work together. Events, I'd just like to say real quick, I was the speaker today at the Basking Ridge Business Alliance meeting, and I just want to say thank you to them for having me, but most importantly, my colleagues and I are invested in our business community, and we'll do everything we can to help them. I'd like to recognize Ridge Oak Executive Director Bonnie Kelly sent us a letter to compliment Dennis Butler, our construction code official and fire sub-code official. So I just want to read just a little bit what she wrote. It's always important to recognize our exceptional employees here in town. So Bonnie from Ridge Oak wrote, Ridge Oak lost power to one of our villages. Wait, I'm sorry, I gotta put my glasses on, too small. Ridge Oak lost power to one of our villages that housed 20 elderly early in the morning on January 28th. It took all day to make the needed repairs. Thank goodness our generators provided heat and hot water to our residents while the repairs were being made. About 5 p.m., we were told by First Energy that a local inspection of the repair would have to require to get a cut-in card, primary power to be turned on. So they had to have the card to get turned on. She called Mr. Butler on his cell phone. He right away went back to their facility from Clinton, where he lives. And without hesitation, he took care of the problem, inspected the work, and was able to get the power turned on. And if it wasn't for Mr. Butler, they would have been in the dark all night. So she says his helpfulness, professionalism, and courtesy really made a difference. I'm eternally grateful, and so are our residents. And we just wanted to say thank you so much, Mr. Butler. Also want to say, the ones that made, so Sloan Ketter reached out and asked us what happened was the staff was going to stay overnight for patients that were coming in the morning. So they reached out to us and asked us if we knew anybody, because everything was closed, that could deliver food to them. And so I reached out, and Ridge Bagel was nice enough to say that they would open up and they would cater Sloan Kettering for us. So I want to say thank you so much to them. And this is the first time I'm hearing about this charity fundraising to pay for the meals, because I wish I would have known about that, because I know Kate Grahaller, our committee woman, had sent an email saying, you know, she'd like to pay for the meals or find a way to pay for the meals. So I think it was very generous, but I just wanted you to know that I know that Kate had said that it was something that she wanted to do.
So it
But
would-
I told her, I thought it was a business transaction, and so I wasn't,
Yeah, so it was on Basking Ridge Moms.
oh, okay.
So-
Oh, all right.
Which is pretty public.
Oh, okay, you made it seem like you did it,
No,
so
no,
that's why.
Well, I posted on Facebook on Basking Ridge Moms, and moms
Oh,
responded.
okay. Okay. So want to recognize, it's Black History Month. Black History Month is an entire month devoted to putting on a spotlight on African Americans who've made contributions to our country. Originally, it was a way of teaching students and young people about the contributions of Black and African Americans in school, as they had been often forgotten or left out of the narrative of growth of America. Now it is seen as a celebration of those who've impacted not just the country, but the world with their activism and achievements. As we continue to celebrate Black History Month, let's remember the life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., a man of faith and action. Dr. King saw a world of possibilities and invited us to bring them into reality by taking concrete action. Dr. King said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at the time of challenge and controversy." As we work on shaping the culture of our communities, we have to build them with the idea that the first function of community is support. And I say, let us as a community never segregate ourselves from our differences. Let us work together for one common purpose, our community. It's also Heart Healthy Month. Each month in February, the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institution makes America Heart, Lung Month by raising awareness about heart and urging Americans to reduce the risk factor for developing cardiovascular disease. Getting regular physical activities, eating healthy, and losing weight and having an annual physical are ways to combat health disease. On Monday, we recognize and honor George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, President's Day. The day sometimes is understood as a celebration of birthdays and lives of all U.S. presidents. We thank them for their service to our country, making changes in so many different ways and making our lives better. I would like to quote Abraham Lincoln, "Adhere to your purpose and you will soon feel as well as you ever did. On the contrary, if you falter, give up and will lose the power of keeping any resolution and will regret it all your life." I want to close by reminding everyone to please go to our website for news updates at burners.org. Thank you. Fire and rescue appointments?
None this evening.
That takes us to new business. The items listed within the consent portion of the meeting have been referred to the Township Committee for reading and study. Linked to the posted agenda on the website are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion of the Township Committee with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is required, the item may be removed from the agenda by Township Committee action and placed on the regular agenda under new business. Can I have a motion, please? Oh, would anybody like anything removed from the agenda? From the consent agenda? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second that.
Roll call, Rhonda?
Mr. Baldessari?
Yes.
Ms. Bannon?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Ms. Grijalva?
Yes.
Mayor Fields?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ordinance number 2460, Rhonda?
Okay. This is an ordinance of the Township of Bernards, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, amending, revising, and supplementing the Code of the Township of Bernards, Chapter 21, Revised Land Use Ordinances regarding village center standards in the PUD 5 Mount Laurel Option Zone, and this is an introduction.
Mayor, I move that ordinance 2460 be introduced on first reading, advertised as required by law, referred to the planning board, and scheduled for a public hearing on March 9th, 2021.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Rhonda? Discussion, I'm sorry. Roll call.
Mr. Baldessari?
Yes.
Ms. Bannon?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Ms. Grijalva?
Yes.
Mayor Fields?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ordinance number 2461, Rhonda?
Okay, this is accepting a wetlands conservation easement on property located at 200 Mountain Road, Block 11501, Lot 5.01, from Chalo Gramala and Kelly Gramala to the Township of Bernards, and this is an introduction.
Mayor, I move that ordinance number 2461 be introduced on first reading, advertised as required by law, and scheduled for public hearing on February 23rd, 2021.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Any discussion?
Oh, sorry, discussion.
Okay.
None, okay, roll call. Sorry.
Mr. Baldessari?
Yes.
Ms. Bannon?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Ms. Grijalva?
Yes.
Mayor Fields?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ordinance 2462, Rhonda?
Okay, this is accepting a wetlands conservation easement on property located at 15 Tarsmic Court, Block 3901, Lot 70, from John B. Malcolm III and Brianne Malcolm to the Township of Bernards. And this is an introduction as well.
Mayor, I move that ordinance number 2462 be introduced on first reading, advertised as required by law, and scheduled for a public hearing on February 23rd, 2021.
Second that.
Discussion? Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Baldessari?
No,
Ms.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of something else. Yes, it's my inside voice again.
Ms. Bannon?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Ms. Grijalva?
Yes.
Mayor Fields?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ordinance 2463, Rhonda?
This is an ordinance of the Township of Bernards, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, amending, revising, and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the Township of Bernards, Chapter 21, Land Development, Section 21-42, Drainage, and this is an introduction.
I move that ordinance 2463 be introduced on first reading, advertised as required by law, referred to the planning board, and scheduled for a public hearing on March 9th, 2021.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Baldessari?
Yes.
Ms. Bannon?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Ms. Grijalva?
Yes.
Mayor Fields?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ordinance 2464.
This is an ordinance of the Township of Bernards, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, amending, revising, and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the Township of Bernards, Chapter 21, Land Development, Section 21-23, Drainage, and this is an introduction.
I move that ordinance 2464 be introduced on first reading, advertised as required by law, referred to the planning board, and scheduled for a public meeting on March 9th, 2021.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Baldessari?
Yes.
Ms. Bannon?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Ms. Grijalva?
Yes.
Mayor Fields?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Appointment made by Township Committee, Utility Advisory Task Force, Michael Estrin, filling the expired one-year term of Michael Connolly, expires 12/31/2021. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Mayor, I move the minutes.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion opposed? Motion carries. We're back to the second portion of our public comment. I'm going to open it up for anybody for a public comment.
Just,
You have to state your name and address again.
okay, Sumit Singh, 14 Sentinel Drive. Mayor Fields, just wanted to acknowledge that I appreciate your help that you're offering in making sure that our broadband service is important, and it's maintaining the quality that it needs. Just had a couple of follow-up questions for you. Did the representative from Artis offer any kind of a timeline and when they are doing it? And just
Yeah,
for
I thought I said it, maybe you didn't hear me, maybe I missed it. I think we might have not put it in the 3 weeks. So they're going to be working on it for the next 3 weeks.
So in 3 weeks, they will be able to place 5 nodes and get the capacity relief?
Well, they're splitting the nodes.
Okay. So this problem has been 11 months old. Since last March, we have been going through
Right.
this hell. And the importance right now. The kids are studying from home. All of us are working from home. In the past, the last 11 months, we've been told several lies. There is a bunch of times they have sent their technicians just to give us some false hopes. I have upgraded speeds to 1 gig, and I can tell you pretty much everybody in the neighborhood has upgraded to 1 gig. They know that it would not have held. So 3 weeks, we really need to hold them accountable to get this fixed. My fear right now is that nothing is going to happen in 3 weeks. So I'm just stating it just for us to be cautious and aware that they have been doing this for the last 11 months. It's not a new issue. We need to give them a chance. There's nothing much we can do at this point of time. We are literally a hostage. There is only one utility provider in that space. But that's going to change very soon. And I'm hoping that you are raising these things, that if they don't take care of their customers are going to leave in drones, the moment there's an alternative there.
Right. Well, I want to let you know that it is different this time because we do have the Utility Advisory Task Force. So it's, I don't know if you're aware of it.
Mayor, if I could real quick, sir, what I would suggest you do is our utility task force has meetings, these are public meetings, that's correct. I would go to one of our public task force meetings with the utility task force. Our chairman is sitting right in the audience there tonight. Voice your concerns to that task force because they're the ones that are put together to directly deal with the utility and tell them, what it is that we need and how we can, effectuate the kind of change that we're looking to do that. So, I appreciate you coming in here and letting us, know what you think and what you see going on. But that's the reason that we set up the task force. So, specifics, anything like that, go to the task force, let them know specifically what you're talking about and what you're looking for, and they'll be able to take it from there and deal with the utility.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. Like I said before, we have the Utility Task Force, and that's who's directly dealing with it right now. We're not directly dealing with it. So if I get something, he gets something, it's going right through the Utility Task Force. So I would, they have a meeting next week.
February 17th.
He has a meeting, and so after the meeting, maybe you can introduce yourself and you can get his information and work together.
Okay. Yeah, I personally did not know what kind of authority that the mayor office has or the utility task force has. It's a good education for us as well. Frankly, this is not what I do for a living. I wish I'd never had to come here, and but
I've heard that before.
So we'll work with the task force and see what can be done.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? Todd, come on up.
Tyler Stein, Riverside Drive, another bite at the apple. Thank you very much, Mr. Esposito.
Thank you.
It's not a problem because I could be real tough, but I'll tell you one thing. I don't talk the talk, I walk the walk.
Absolutely.
I've learned that many years ago. And Mr. Monaco knows that also, right?
I do.
He knows. So, when I see something that really aggravates me, I'll get out and do it myself and not wait for somebody else. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Todd.
100% with you.
Cody Smith, 36 Royal Oak Drive. So the second thing I'd like to address tonight is a diversity committee. I did listen into that 10 days ago. I thought John Coelho, if I'm pronouncing your name right, did a great job of basically moderating that in the discussion. But there was, to me, it was unclear basically what exactly we're trying to accomplish there. And as the people on the committee went through and spoke about their backgrounds. I was kind of unsure what made them qualified to be on such a committee and why they wanted to do that. Then again, I was thinking maybe that's not such a bad thing after all. But it just seems like it's not even a solution looking for a problem. There's not even, the solution hasn't been identified yet, or the problem hasn't been identified either. I was concerned that people were thanking Ms. Harris for getting them on the committee. And again, we have a couple of people from the Democrat Party on that committee. And then somebody like me, I would consider them pretty far out to the left. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do there, but it was the first meeting, and we'll wait and see what happens there. But again, it just seems like a kind of a waste of time. Thank you.
Thank you. So if I just may respond, people thanked me for initiating the discussion about a diversity and inclusion committee. The members of that committee were selected by all of us, and there are Republicans on that committee, and there might even be independents, but I'm not really sure, because we asked residents if they were interested to fill it out an application, and I'm really happy to report we had a ton of applications. We could not give everybody a place on the committee. But Mr. Smith, I invite you to keep showing up. I was happy to see that you had called in, and you know, it's a work in progress.
I could say two other things. The one thing I was surprised about, if I could look at the Zoom meeting, that I think there was only a handful of people that actually called in who weren't on the committee. So for as much as we say that we need that, it was kind of surprised at the low turnout. I don't know, and I saw it was recorded. I don't know if we're going to post those so other people can look at that. Maybe that was the issue with the timing. And then the other thing I forgot to mention or neglected to mention is the only couple things I heard of examples of what was wrong with the county was, or the town, was the Mexican Day incident at Ridge High School. I did ask my son after I heard that the first time, do you know what that is? And he said, oh yeah, that would never happen today, right? That's basically done. And then there was a number of people that mentioned the mosque, of course, as an issue with the town. And it just shows that there's a complete lack of understanding as to what went on there, that they basically say people are coming from across the other side of town who have no business, and basically making a racial issue out of that. And that's not at all what it was for those of us that were involved with it. And some people who were on the committee at the time, who are now the chair, went through all of the land use issues with that. There were plenty of them, as those of you that are familiar with it know. So perhaps you could also use the time to educate them on why that had nothing to do with discrimination and race and everything to do with land use issues. Jake Perry, I'll put together the binder of all the articles that he wrote on it. There was never any discussion about any of that it being a racial incident. It was all land use all the time. And Jeff Plaza did a great job that even if somebody tried getting there, and that was rare, it was immediately shut down. That was not the issue. So everybody like me who was against it stuck to the land use. Everybody that was for it claimed that we were discriminating against them without any response to any of the land use issues. Thanks.
Thank you. Any more? Oh.
John Coelho, 22 Benedict Crescent, and also Chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Thank you, Mr. Cody, for the acknowledgement. It's a real privilege to serve on that committee. I invite you and others to attend. I got a lot of comments after the meeting. The minutes of the meeting are posted on the Township website for all to see and view. And we'll make sure through Zoom, and I wrote a note to Rhonda already to address that we make that as broadly available as possible to the public. The point I just wanted to address, this is not perhaps the appropriate forum, is we're not looking for what's wrong. That's not the intent here. This is a framework to begin a dialogue on how we can enrich our community and make this an exceptional place. That's really what, and I welcome your input. I really look for constructive input from you and all of you here, because that's why I've had the privilege to be in this role and serve on other committees, Planning Board, Parks and Recs, because I think if you get engaged and involved and voice your opinion and we're prepared to listen, instead of hurl accusations, it's going to be a much better solution. I've seen it again and again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment.
Mayor, I make a motion that I believe we're done for the evening, so I would like to close the open session and open a closed session.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're going to go into
Thank you very much for
executive.
coming.